In a world full of noise, two voices rise above the chaos. Ron and Brian. They speak truth. They stir thought. They accidentally help. News, nonsense, and necessary self-care. Join the cult of Ron and Brian, because the work is so important.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. That's right, William Esquire. The work is so important. And that's why we have been here. Episode 378 now, Brian. I mean, you could literally, you could listen to one every day for more than a year at this point.
If our number of episodes was a batting average, Ron, we would be in the Hall of Fame.
You would, and I think we should be anyway. I think the way that we've been snubbed up to this point, very disrespectful.
Is there a podcasting Hall of Fame? If not, can we start one?
I think we need to start one. We'll work on some designs. We'll work on some funding, and then we'll go from there. But in the meantime, Brian, let's get ready for some drinking with our drink of the week.
Drink of the week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the week.
Cruncher.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
Brian, what are you drinking this week?
This week, Ron, I bring to your attention 1947 Premium Lager from our good friends over at New World Beverage. Ron, and you're going to say, what is 1947? How did it come about? And I'm going to say that's simple. Look at this. First off, look at that cloudy lager. So cloudy. The founders of this beer, all Indian Americans, were tired of the beers available at South Asian restaurants and events that never really tasted good with the food. They felt there wasn't a beer that really celebrated the Indian culture. That's where 1947 Premium Lager comes in. The journey begins, Ron. They decided to brew and create a beer that perfectly complemented the rich and exciting flavors of Indian cuisine, a beer that was going to set a new standard. Their careful selection of only the finest ingredients produced a beer that is unlike any I have ever tasted. It is rich in color, smooth in taste, and leaves a crisp, refreshing feel each and every time. Coming from our friends at Appalachian Brewing Company in Harrisburg, the kind folks who make this. The Beer Advocate gives it a score of 77.
Wow, that's not promising, my friend.
ABV is 4.72. Thankfully, I'm going to finish off this bottle of Crown Royal Vanilla, which is just heavenly. So no matter how this beer goes down, I will be enjoying that. But let's try this beer.
Let's see how you like it. I am interested in seeing how it turns out.
Oh, fuck God, no. There's a chalkiness,
okay,
which you shouldn't have with a beer. Like I get it. It's cloudy, but there's a chalkiness at the end.
It doesn't sound pleasant. I'm not going to lie.
Now, I will say, in my defense, I didn't read the label, and I did not do any research when I purchased this beer over the weekend. I did not know that it perfectly complements Indian food. So, not surprising, I didn't like it.
Interesting.
Oh, I will.
But you got to drink it. You got to drink it. Them's the rules.
Ron.
Yes.
What are you drinking?
So this week, Brian, going back to my new friends down in Aruba at Balashi Brewing. Last week, I brought their Magic Mango, their Aruba Pale Ale. This week, going to one of their older brews, Brian. This is their chill beer. It was introduced back in 2011. It is described as a summertime beach brew, clocking in at 5%. It is very clear, so it's
Ooh.
crushable. It's
Ooh.
and let me see. Listen, it was very good on tap. Let's see how it is in a can.
Drum roll, please.
It's how I remember it. I will say
Okay.
this: not what I would say a go-to beer,
Okay.
because I think it could use a little bit more flavor. It's a little on the weaker
Sure.
side.
Is
But if
is
you're
that
at
the
an
reason why you
all-inclusive
were drinking
resort,
it?
if
Oh
you're at an
yeah.
all-inclusive resort and it's the beer that they provide to you as part of your drink package, you're going to drink it, Brian.
Sure.
I would give this, and not surprising, your beer had a 77 rating on Beer Advocate.
Sure.
Chill coming in at an anemic 65 on Beer Advocate.
Oh, that is low.
It is very
So
low.
Beer
I've
Advocate
rarely
prefers.
seen.
Ooh.
Mm, mm,
Mm.
mm, 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 mm.
It's always
Well,
good for an audio show. I mean, it's always good
when
when
we
we
both
both
drink
take
at
a
the same
sip.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes dead silent.
Should we do
Exactly
it
what you
again?
want.
One more time. All right.
Cheers.
Plancha. See, folks, this is why you watch the video. You don't
Yeah.
just you can see you don't get to see Brian his face twist up in disgust at his beer and now his vanilla Crown Royal. Good Lord,
It's always a
that just
sad one. It's
sounds bad.
always sad when you finish a bottle. Look at that. I think I've been
Another dead
nursing this for
soldier.
about a year and a half. I think I've been nursing this for a year and a half.
All right, well
Mm.
let's keep it moving on, Brian. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, as you attempt to get every last drop out of that Crown Royal vanilla bottle, what's bothering you this week?
Liverpool Football Club. I'm wearing my Liverpool shirt this week. It is this year was the year I decided I was truly going to get into the English Premier League football competition.
Right.
As we've spoken about it in the past, my nephew, friend of the show, he is a huge Liverpool fan. Friend of the show, James, also lifelong Liverpool fan. Both of them, just their love of the team got me into it. This year, I've started to buy some official merch. I bought myself a T-shirt. I've got the official Liverpool soccer scarf that I like to wear during the games.
Yep,
This morning, I woke up, I had my coffee. I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym, sneak in a quick workout before the game, came back, got myself situated with my smoothie. And they fucking suck. They suck this year.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
They're in 8th place. Their record is 6 wins, 5 losses. Last year, they were the best team in the league. I was expecting to jump on a bandwagon and ride it for a couple seasons where I could sit there and gloat to other fans of Tottenham and fans of Aston Villa, of Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. Then there's Brighton, Brentford, like to brag to Everton, Newcastle, Fulham, not elite. Anywho, but it's just, you decide you're going to jump on a bandwagon. You're going to like the Darth Vader of the league. And the year you jump on, they just stink. So the number of times I got yelled at earlier this morning for screaming at my TV, ethnic slurs were used, slurs based on sexual orientation were used. Just the number of times the F word was used.
Sure,
And that's
sounds
just
about right.
that's just from my lady. I mean, that doesn't even counter like the stuff I was saying. No, it was just really just pissed me off today how bad they were. And that's it lingered for a couple hours after the game. Fortunately, I was able to place a wager on DraftKings, which I was able to score a few bucks off of. But that's what's pissing me off.
Listen,
this week,
Brian, as someone, speaking from someone who has been a champion, is a champion, it's tough to repeat. And I think you of all people, I mean, some people call you flash in the pan. Some people call you one-hit wonder. I'm sure you can relate to the difficulty in remaining a champion multiple years in a row.
I can't believe I just set you up so perfectly. I didn't even see that coming. Well done, Ron. That was
Thank you.
impressive. I give
Thank
you a
you.
lot of credit for that one. That was didn't see that coming.
Thank you.
Ron, what's bothering you this week?
What's bothering me? My entire body, Brian, is bothering me. As I mentioned to you, I think last week, we're working on getting back into shape again, getting healthier again. So we've started taking these training classes. We took a circuit class last week, the weights and stretches and whatnot. Did something called TRX this morning, which I was unfamiliar with, but you have a lot of like these straps that you like lean back and you do like lunges and lifts and everything else. Absolutely just brutal workout, brutalized my body. And now I feel it every time I walk up and down the stairs in my house. But I keep saying if I stick with it, I won't hurt as much.
Now, is this one of those workouts? Because there seems to be an approach in the exercise world of let's really punish you to show you how out of shape you are and how much you need to keep doing this so that you can get into shape, rather than what I think would actually make more sense is a lighter workout that you just build upon as you keep doing it. Now, how would you say this workout scheme fits into that on that spectrum?
Sure. I would say, and I've heard stories about personal trainers and how they will beat down on some people. I would say this place that my lady found, very easy to work with, very nice. I would say we were probably, I'm sure they could have worked us out harder if they needed to. And if you need to take a break, if you need to, adapt your form to make it less, intense, they're somewhat pretty easy to work with, I would say. So basically, it's this little gym nearby, and you can sign up for classes through their app. We've been buying them like packs of 10 at a time. So we'll be back there tomorrow night, 6:15 for another circuit workout. So we'll see how that goes 2 days in a row.
Now, getting back to the conversation we had right before the show started when you were telling me about the workout, I don't think I'm saying anything out of turn here, but what was your issue with the fact that it was a Jewish woman that was teaching the class? I don't see the core. Like you said you had a real problem that it was a Jewish woman telling you what to do. I don't understand. I didn't understand what you meant at the time.
I think you may have misheard me. I feel like you take my words and you twist them.
I've been doing that for 378 episodes, and I will never stop. You can have the belt. I will always twist your words.
All right. Next up, we've got our stories of the week. These are the stories that we make sure we grab, we bring to the table, we caress them, we stroke them, and then we share them with you, our fans. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
Ron, this week, my story goes out to the great state of Arizona. Only good things come out of Arizona, with an update on a story that we did a few months ago. Do you have a photo, if you could please put that up, of friend of the show, Christopher Schultes? I guess Schultes might be the way you pronounce it. Not the greatest photo of him, but he's got one of the greatest stories. So Christopher, he admitted not that long ago that he left his 2-year-old daughter to die in a sweltering car while he went into his Phoenix home and watched porn while drinking. Well, instead of facing a jury trial, Christopher Schultes ended his life the cowardly way and committed suicide this past week. He was found dead in Phoenix on Wednesday at 5 a.m., while ahead of his sentencing, where he faced 30 years behind bars. As people remember, I believe it was, what month did it happen? It was earlier in July of 2024. So this took place over a year ago. He just had recently pled guilty to second-degree murder and was expected to be officially sentenced to 30 years. His death comes more than a year after his daughter Parker was found dead in the driveway of their home outside of Tucson on a scorching July afternoon, where the outside temperature soared to 109 degrees that day. He claimed to have left the toddler in the car around 12:30 for 30 minutes with the air conditioning on because he didn't want to wake her up from a nap. However, court records revealed he left the girl in the car for over 30 hours and admitted knowing the car would shut off automatically after a half an hour. Schultes went inside, was watching porn and playing video games and drinking beer while his daughter passed away in the car. This apparently was something that he had apparently admitted a habit of doing, not just in one family. And two, he had done this, in fact, in a previous relationship. Thankfully, the young girl did not pass away. Just a terrible human being. And I'm going to say this, save society the effort of providing food and shelter to him in the prison system for the next 20 years.
So did you say 30 hours, 30 hours he left the kid in the car?
No, 3 hours.
Oh, 3. I thought you said 30, which
no. He's got 20 to 30 years, years. But he went inside to play some video games, drink some beers, and watch some porn. Now, the real question, they don't say it in the article, but these are the little, the subtleties that are important to me. What order, did he, enjoy those 3 hours when she was in the car?
Right.
Did he immediately start off with the beer, watch a little porn, and then afterwards play some video games? Did he play some video games, working up, I deserve a reward right now because I just won my game. Now I'm going to masturbate. And then afterwards, I'm going to drink my beer because now I'm thirsty. Like, what was the order of those 3? We'll never know. Thankfully, he committed suicide, killed himself this week, and society is better off without him. Ron, what's your story?
There you go. Well, first off, Johanna confirms you said 30 hours, but that's all right. We'll back it down to 3.
Did I get some facts wrong? Oh, I'm sorry.
So, Brian, this is an interesting story. A woman in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, was waiting for a shipment of medicine and medical supplies. When it finally arrived, she opened the box and found that it was filled with human arms and fingers instead. Christian County Coroner Scott Daniel confirmed the incident, saying the box was originally meant for surgical training. Somewhere between an airline, a freight company, and a courier, the package was misrouted. Daniel personally showed up at the woman's home to collect the remains and stored them in the morgue until the courier received them the next morning. The woman eventually received her correct shipment of medical supplies. Authorities say that they're not sure what the body parts were intended for, but interesting that we just send body parts through like regular delivery.
What do you think was going through her mind when she got the second shipment and went to open the box? Like, do you think she was casually opening? Do you think she had a family friend or a neighbor
I think that's an instance where you have somebody else open that box for you, where you're like, you call your neighbor, you're like, hey, Brian, help me out here. Maybe you could come over, just open this box for me. I've got a little PTSD when it comes to packages.
Now, I have a question. Your wife likes to order a lot of things. What do you think she would do if she opened the box and it contained human fingers?
I think, she typically is excited anytime she receives something that involves a return, because then she can go to a mall or to a store or something along those lines. So I think at first she'd be like, ooh, human arms and fingers. But then she'd be like, oh, well, time to go to the mall to exchange this. And then I can do more shopping.
Let's go to King of Prussia. Listen, Ron, she makes her own money. She makes her own money. She can spend it however she wants.
Exactly. Brian, hell of a week this past week. A very exciting election day on Tuesday. We have already seen the downfall of New York City as a result of the mayoral election. You have a view across the Hudson from your ivory tower of New York City. Is the entire city on fire? Is it burning? Is it in flames? What are you seeing over there?
Zero difference from the week before. I
Brian,
don't see there's
I've heard they have already changed the name from Manhattan to Womanhattan, WOMYN, of course.
of course.
I've heard that Shakira law has been invoked. If your hips lie, they send you off to a halal concentration camp.
Sure.
But seriously, Brian, you work in the heartbeat
Of
of
course.
downtown Manhattan throughout the week. What was the feeling from Wednesday onwards?
I would describe there were two general camps in terms of people who were responding to the election. One predominantly was people saying, "Oh, the city is over. We got it's dead. Good luck for for the next 4 years. It's going to be out of control." Knowing these people who were telling me this, I know none of them live within the confines of the five boroughs.
Right.
It was predominantly white people from Long Island and
Staten
New
Island.
Jersey. So okay, that still counts. Sitting there, just basically having a I mean, the number of anti-Arab comments I heard over this past week. You knew it was going to come. I mean, there was what I did get a kick out of was the number of people that I spoke to who were blaming Curtis Sliwa for splitting the vote, despite not understanding how a majority election works, and that when one candidate has more than 50%, nothing the other candidates could have done was going to change. Mamdani won 50%, over 51% of the vote. Therefore, even if Sliwa had said, "Listen, everybody that was going to vote for me, go vote for Cuomo," Mamdani still wins. I don't know that he's going to be a good mayor. I have to admit, I have been disappointed in the political system since Obama. I genuinely felt when President Obama went into the White House that there was going to be change. What I have seen is that one person has very little power in the grand scheme of things. They're surrounded by a gigantic bureaucracy that either gets on board or stymies progress. Whether you appreciate that progress or whether you're against that progress, it's always going to happen. But the people that I spoke to who live within New York City, for the most part, seemed moderately hopeful is the way I would put it. Even people I spoke to who had voted for Mamdani was basically saying, "Yeah, okay, you know what? Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he can make things better."
Well, I mean, if you look at some of his key platforms for his campaign, free pre-K, free buses,
Sure.
Freezing rent. Making the city more affordable, bringing on, mental health officers to handle situations, to free up the police to, handle actual crime. I mean, it's ambitious. And again, to your point, you hope that he's able to get some of these things done because, I sent you that TikTok earlier, though, that was kind of interesting. Going back from, 2025 to 2008, just clips from Fox News and all that. All of the time over the last 17 years that everybody has said, well, this is the end of New York City. Everyone's going to move out.
Sure.
People are not moving out of New York City.
People are not. They may buy a second home, but there's absolutely, I love that video. And I'll be honest with you, I did not even realize that it went that far back. I remember people talking about, well, you're going to leave Manhattan since 2020 during the pandemic, when there were refrigerated, containers filled with bodies. There were forklifts carrying bodies and bags outside of hospitals. People walking around with antibodies. They were just feeling superior to everyone else. But I did not realize that the right-wing media had been really hammering this. The wealthy are going to move out of Manhattan. The wealthy are going to leave New York. The wealthy, going so far back. That was the Daily Show you got it from, correct?
Yes, it was.
So well done. Thank you for sending that over to me. I really appreciated that. That every now and then you send me stuff that actually opens and expands my mind. Usually, listen, um, I have to say this: as much as New York has suffered since I moved out, I'd also like to point out how Hudson County, New Jersey, has been lifted by my presence.
Very nice. But it wasn't just New York City, Brian. I mean, it was a blue tsunami, a blue
Sure.
cocky, some people are calling it. Prop
Mm.
50 passed in the state of California, redrawing their Senate congressional maps. Virginia elected not only its first female governor in the history of the state, but all of the major offices there went blue. Governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. New Jersey, which it seemed prior to election day that New Jersey might be a tight race, but
Mhm.
Jack Ciattarelli, the Buffalo Bills of New Jersey politicians, loses yet another gubernatorial race. Um,
Terrible.
and in the state of Pennsylvania, we retain all of our Supreme Court justices on the state Supreme Court. A lot of outside money coming into the state, trying to, tilt the turn of the court. That will not happen. I'm seeing also a lot of school boards flipped from Republican to
Yep.
Democratic. I saw the Moms of Liberty lost 31
Everything.
contested races that they were in.
Correct.
Um, Still kind of shocking that after all that, we're still sitting here with the government closed down. Like, you would have
But that's
thought
the
that
thing.
maybe it would be a wake up call for the right to be like, all right, maybe we need to improve our image with the American voter.
The government isn't shut down. They're just not paying their employees. Social Security Administration is still open for business. They're just not paying their workers. The TSA is open. They're not paying their workers. The Defense Department are being paid by private donation. The federal government is accepting federal taxes that are taken from people's paychecks. They're just refusing to pay the workers. You know who actually is shut down? Is the Republican-led House of Representatives,
True.
Congress. They've been sitting at home for what, 6 weeks now?
Quite a while now.
Yeah, they're refusing to come back to open, but they're making their workers show up. The level of horseshit that is going on right now is stunning. Sorry,
Going to
a
the
little worked
White
up.
House, we had a little incident this week where a pharmaceutical CEO or head passed out in the Oval Office, which led to this photo of people tending to a man on the ground
Sure.
while Donald Trump stands there, seemingly unsure of what to do at this point.
He looks like he's standing at attention at a military parade. The video of this is beautiful, and I'll say that not because, well, I mean, if you said to me a pharmaceutical CEO is collapsing, normally I would say that is the greatest thing that could possibly happen. No, 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 no. So if you watch the video of this, standing right next to the pharmaceutical CEO is Robert Kennedy Jr., who is the head of the Department of Health. I
Health
think
and Human Services, yes.
close enough. As soon as this pharmaceutical guy, he leans forward a bit, leans back, and then he just goes down sideways. RFK Jr. literally goes right out of the sight of the camera. Does not go to help the guy that's fallen down. Literally walks away because he's smart enough to know I don't want to be in this camera. I don't want to be anywhere near what's going on. As much as I think he's a flaming asshole, Dr. Oz, TV doctor, he's the guy in this photo in the blue suit who's leaning over trying to provide medical assistance. Lord knows I would have thought he would have ran, but he actually leaned in. Donald Trump, who was standing, literally just doesn't know what to do. Now, we've all I'm not saying I've ever, had first aid classes or I know CPR and whatnot, but the very least you take a couple steps, you look over and you kind of say like, oh my gosh, like that's terrible. Like, is he going to be okay?
Can I help you there?
What's going on? That's all you do. Donald Trump literally just stands there like he thinks that's what's supposed to be done. Oh my goodness. This to me is the greatest photo of the week, month, if not the year.
I think the thing that aggravates me the most about that photo is the tie. Why is it so long?
He loves the
I know
long
that's the
ties
thing.
because it gives the impression that he's taller than he actually is. Ron, I want you to know something. The number of times this past week I tried to have various AI programs insert you into that photo, and they rejected it every time. And I could not figure out what, but it was just like, please take the man in photo one and insert him hugging the man standing still in photo two. And they would come back with like, the closest they did was they had you basically like leaning over the guy who fell with your arms out like you're hugging. They just misinterpret.
You gotta work on your AI prompts.
I know, I need to. But the number of times I tried to insert you into that photo, because I looked at it immediately, I was just like, oh, Ron needs to be in this photo. And I couldn't get it to work. I failed you,
Almost
Ron.
as many times as the number of times you tried to insert me in college. Oh.
Yeah, but you said you wanted that a couple times.
Now, give President Trump credit for one thing. There's a lot going on. People aren't getting paid. SNAP benefits aren't being sent out this month. But he did find the time to pardon former Mets superstar Daryl Strawberry, expunging his guilty plea to a federal tax fraud charge back in 1995. And I realized this. Daryl Strawberry had been on Celebrity Apprentice 15 years ago. Because I was like, how the hell? It seemed like a very random thing. But now it makes sense. And listen, I can see with everything going on with healthcare prices spiking, with inflation shooting back up, food costs. Let's pardon Daryl Strawberry. Maybe next week, Dwight Gooden. I think we need to wipe Dwight's slate clean as well.
Where I think it's interesting with Trump versus, by comparison to previous presidents, is usually presidents wait until like the last couple weeks of their presidency to start issuing pardons. They sit there when they're lame ducks, when it doesn't matter anymore, when they're out in a couple weeks and there's no consequences. Trump, on the other hand, sits there and goes, I got 4 years to pardon people. Let's start now. Earlier this week,
who I can let go.
There was an interview, I forgot which media outlet, but they were asking him about the CEO of Binance, the crypto company.
Oh, yeah.
That was found guilty for some type of fraud. I don't remember. All those crypto people are frauds, in my opinion, but I don't remember what. But Trump was asked about his pardon of him. Trump literally leaning forward, as he likes to do. I think, I think it was the interview with Norah O'Donnell for CBS.
I believe you're correct.
Trump leaned forward, and he just went like this. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't know who that is.
I have no idea who I pardoned.
He always slides to his automatic, which is just like, if he doesn't know exactly how to answer the question, just pretend he has no idea. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Like, but you literally pardon him. You did your research. You read some type of report. You spoke to one of your advisors who said, hey, I'd like to put forth a request. And you went, well, why should he? And there was a conversation. No. Trump literally like this. Well, I don't know anything about that. I don't know who that guy is. But you pardoned him. Oh, I love this. We're not even 1 year down, and we got 3 more to go. This is people. This is a long play, long hold. We got time to have some fun. Let's not use it all in the beginning. Space it out. Right. Let's space it out, people.
Spread it out.
Yeah, spread out the love.
Well, as we mentioned, SNAP benefits went through a bit of a yo-yo this week. First, none of them went out. Then half of them went out. Then all of them went out. And then the Supreme Court said, whoa, we're feeding way too many people in this country. Let's dial it back. So now the states are attempting to pull SNAP benefits back. But in the meantime, TikToker Nicolai Monroe has been running a fascinating social experiment to find out if religious groups are actually willing to live out their stated values. Here are some screenshots of Nicolai. And so what she would do is she would call up churches and other houses of worship. She would have the sound of a crying baby in the background, and she would ask if there would be any way to get her formula, because she, see if any of these churches would help them, help her and her child out. Surprisingly, not so many of them. The predominantly white churches, not so much. Basically, if it was an African American church, if it was a Latino church, they would help out. A Muslim center said, "Where are you? What do you need? We'll bring it to you." But most of the white churches were like, we don't really do that here. We can we can point you towards a food pantry in your area, but yeah, we really don't help people here at the church.
Yep.
Brian, I know you were just shocked to hear these results.
It is. Listen, I am just amazed at the level, and I don't know how scientific her efforts are in terms of seeing this as an experiment. But just to see the results, she's posting these videos where she's calling Hispanic churches, predominantly African American churches, Muslim mosques.
I think it was a Muslim center. I don't know if it was a mosque per se.
Okay,
but,
close enough. But just the immediacy of the African American churches, the Hispanic churches, the Muslim centers. I'm assuming she called the Jews. I imagine they were very helpful. I imagine they were going to give some gefilte fish and some borscht, maybe a little menashevitz for the children. Anyway, to make a long story short, I was stupid. I cut that out. Matt, cut that out.
We'll erase that later.
Those 12 seconds, erase that. Do that in post. But just the level of lack of concern by predominantly white churches, where it is, this is seen as, and it's exactly how Jesus would have wanted it. Jesus would have absolutely said to these churches, you know what, when people are down on their luck, just turn your back on them and just, let's collect more money and support monetary wealth.
I'm going to take the loaves and fishes back from people that I don't think have earned it.
Right. By the way, Steelers are up 3-0. Just gotta interrupt the show. Ron and I have a wager on the what is it? The Chargers versus Steelers. We're recording this Sunday night. Chargers Steelers. Steelers are up 3-0. Ron, eat it. Sorry.
I mean, I guess since you brought that up, we might as well go through our locks of the week.
Locks.
Brian, I thought there was a moment today that I thought your reign was coming to an end. You had taken Chicago -3 against the New York Giants. Giants up by 10 with 3 minutes, 58 seconds left in the game. I said, oof, are we finally going to see a crack in Brian's armor? Well, the Giants decided to giant, and they ended up losing the game 24-20. You cover there. Your other game was Seattle -6 against Arizona. Not even a close game. Arizona wins by 22. You are now 20-0 for the season. Rarefied air. Dare I call you the Michael Jordan of NFL picks against the spread?
The issue there with these compliments, Ron, is that I may be in rarefied air, but I've got you literally neck and neck with me, also at 20-0 for the season. Your locks of the week, to me, they are the word of God written in tablets. You could walk down the mountaintop holding your locks of the week, and people would follow. The Texans were laying 3 against the Jaguars. You sat there and said, listen, I know the Texans have been disappointing so far, but they are getting hot. Lay those points. Texans win by 7, 36-29. You also saw the Ravens now getting their quarterback Lamar Jackson back. I believe Jackson getting him back from the injured reserve list. Vikings were getting 4 from the Ravens. You said that will not be enough. Bet Baltimore. Ravens winning 27-19. You also went 2-0 for the season, 20-0 for the year. How confident are you at this point that you will continue your run of destruction against Vegas?
Like you said, it's like a voice from the heavens gives me these picks, and I'm going to go even further and say my locks of the week, they would give babies formula if someone asked.
Of course. So,
Brian,
yes.
who are your picks of the week?
Ooh, week 11. I'm loving this week. I see some games that are just jumping out. Vikings lost against the Ravens. You saw that this week. Next week, Vikings are playing the Bears. Anybody can beat the Bears. Vikings only laying 3. This is a bounce back week for Minnesota. Lay those points. Also, I think the Texans were so hot this week against the Jaguars. Next week, they've got an easier opponent in the Tennessee Titans. Line is 7. If it stays there, I expect it to go up as high as 8.5. If you can get in early at this line of 7, I think Texans are the way to go.
All right. Well, I'll tell you this, Brian. I love those picks, but I like mine as well. I like Green Bay -6 at the New York Giants and the LA Chargers -1.5 at Jacksonville. Bet with your head, as always, not over it.
There you go.
Brian, a New
Yes.
York mother who fell overboard during a Taylor Swift-themed Royal Caribbean cruise was allegedly served too much alcohol. This, according to her family, who is blaming the crew for the fatal plunge. Dulcie White, that is her on the left in this photograph, her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the cruise line on Tuesday, a year after the 66-year-old went missing in the Caribbean Sea during a voyage to the Bahamas. White, who was from Westmoreland, New York, was aboard the Allure of the Seas ship with her daughter when she became intoxicated and fell off her balcony back on October 22nd of last year, 17 miles north of Nassau. Her daughter said that her mom purchased the, quote, unlimited alcoholic beverages package as part of her ticket and was trying to get the most out of her trip. She was allegedly served 7 alcoholic drinks in succession over a span of 6 hours and 8 minutes. Apparently, she began slurring her words, swaying, had glassy eyes, and alcohol on her breath in front of crew members who shouldn't have served her, according to the family. She went back up to her cabin, helped by another passenger. Her and her daughter had stored their luggage out on the balcony to create more space in their room. So the mom went out there to grab some bags, some clothes from the bag. And when the daughter looked out, she saw that White had climbed up, sat on the railing facing the water, and then fell into the water. And they still have not found her body.
So technically, she could still be alive.
Listen, she could be on a deserted island living her best life right now. We're not quite sure.
So maybe, this was one of the cruelest summers when she fell into the water. I know that, she was hoping this trip would be a love story for her, but the bartender said, listen, I knew you were trouble. When you walked up to this bar, are you sure you want this other drink? And she said, oh, don't worry, I'll just shake it off. And then when the daughter looked out onto the balcony, all she saw was a blank space.
I have to give you credit for that. That is that's more Taylor Swift songs than I would have imagined you knew.
I don't know them. I literally Googled Taylor Swift song titles, and those are the ones that came up. And it was just a matter of seeing how many sentences I could come up to work them in.
Very nice. Listen, I every now and then, Brian, you manage to still surprise me, and that's why I love you, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Let's see. We've got the story of the of Abby Zwerder, the teacher that was shot by her 6-year-old student in Virginia. This is going back, probably 3 or 4 years now, I want to say.
Yeah.
So she filed suit against the assistant principal of her school, stating that the assistant principal was aware that the child had brought a gun into school, didn't really do anything about it. This is ex-assistant principal Ebony Parker, and this is going back to January of 2023, as Werner was shot in the chest and hand while sitting at a reading table. Well, she now has been awarded $10 million in the civil trial. She was looking for $40 million. Brian, your thoughts on this verdict?
You know, what I don't remember was what was the source of culpability for the school district. Obviously, you know, as a teacher of first graders, you do not show up to work expecting to get shot by one of your students. I know the basis for the lawsuit. So she's not suing the child or the family of the child. She's suing the school district. Why? Because they have an unlimited amount of money, according to lawyers. But apparently the argument that she was making was that the school should have done more to stop this 6-year-old from bringing a gun to school. I don't remember what it felt like. Had she sued the family, I would have had a little bit more support for her than going after the school district. But that's based on me not knowing a lot of the information about the case.
Sure. And again, I think to your point, I'm sure the school's insurance probably bigger than the family's insurance. And you know, I guess the question is, would it have been the family's, if the school was not aware of it, if the assistant principal was not aware of it, maybe she sues the parents at that point. But the fact that someone at the school was aware of this and really did relatively little to, you know, stop a 6-year-old that they knew had a gun in his backpack.
Just felt odd, felt off. I don't know that I'm supporting this case. I have to admit, not sure I'm supporting it.
I mean, you are a fan of women getting shot, so I can understand where, you know, where this would come from you.
Why do you lie?
Me, I'm just repeating the stuff you tell me in confidence.
No, you lie. You lie so much about me. Not even funny.
Brian, a North Dakota hotel worker was caught dumping bed sheets into a hot tub in a disgusting laundering act that the business claims was to remove stains, but has since sparked a state health investigation. Horrified guests at an Expressway Suites in Fargo captured the worker loading the sheets into the chlorinated water and mixing them with a broomstick as they sat poolside during a recent stay. The hotel claimed the sheets put on guest beds are washed the traditional way, stating that the hot tub is just used to remove stains from the linen.
Ron?
Yes, my friend.
I feel it is my personal mission to ensure that there is a spotlight on America's hotel industry. There are some fine hotel operators. There are some fine people who work in the industry. But as a whole, the reputation, the ethics, the morals, I just am not seeing them. To sit there and look at a hot tub, a place where adults have come to know hours of enjoyment, safe, family friendly. Nobody is doing things untoward in the hot tub. But to have a hotel see the hot tub empty and say, "Oh, this is a perfect time for me to throw in stained, bath towels and sheets." And with the hot water, we're going to clean it. It's so distressing to me. People, once again, if you're going to stay in a hotel, I can only speak about America because that's really where I have my binoculars focused on. Please be careful, be suspicious. Don't always assume that the establishment has your best interests at heart.
And just for those people that own a hot tub at home, no, not a great place to do your laundry for a variety of reasons. But
Question, Ron, as somebody who
Yes.
has a private pool at home, do you recommend that is the kind of place where you can use your dirty laundry to be cleaned?
I would stick with the traditional washer and dryer. I mean, maybe I'm old school,
Okay.
but that's just how I roll.
All right. Interesting. You would rather use your washer dryer. All right.
Listen, and maybe I'm elitist, maybe I share some ivory tower values with you. But yeah,
Sure.
I feel washer dryer is the way to go.
All right. Interesting.
The world's oldest quarter pounder from McDonald's is about to celebrate a milestone birthday. Casey, Jean, and Edwards Knits purchased the quarter pounder, since dubbed the Senior Burger by its keepers, from a Golden Arches location in Australia back in 1995. And in November, this burger will turn 30 years old. They have kept it carefully wrapped in its original beige paper packaging. And despite never having been refrigerated and spending the past 30 years being stuffed in cupboards, garbage bags, and sheds, it is, quote, eerily intact and hasn't developed any mold or bad odor. Oh, the only thing that's happened
Unfucking
is it
believable.
shrunk in size.
Only unfucking believable. This is so and you would imagine Australia has higher food standards than America. No food should last 30 years. Unsealed.
Now McDonald's responded to this in 2020, saying that the hamburger's longevity is likely due to a dry environment that inhibits the growth of mold and bacteria. So they're saying that perhaps these people let this thing dehydrate, and if that was the case, it would not mold or rot at that point.
Do you believe that?
I mean, it doesn't pass the smell test, if you will. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the lawyers over at McDonald's have scrambled to try to, come up with some type of justification for this food product not degrading. 30 years is a long time. You want to say a burger hasn't, is a year old? I'll sit there and, I'm a little bit more open-minded. But a 30-year-old burger, ugh. And there's some frat boy who would be willing to eat that if you dared them.
All right, I'll ask you, Brian. What amount of money would someone have to pay you to take a bite? Just one bite. You don't have to eat the whole thing. Bite, chew, swallow. One bite. Everybody knows the rule.
$100,000. 100
That's
grand.
it.
Yeah,
All right.
100 grand. I would take a bite and swallow. You wouldn't do that for 100 grand?
I'd probably do it. Honestly, I'd probably do it for 50.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably. Yeah, I'd give it a shot.
I mean, obviously, I would anticipate being sick for a week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's nothing in there that would kill me. But that would be my only concern. Is there something in this burger, some ancient evil that would potentially off me?
If it was greenish and orangish and there were spores growing out of it, I think I would be less likely to be willing to take a bite of it.
Good point. Billy saying you probably still wouldn't poop after eating that.
Okay.
That would be the true test of your intestinal fortitude, if you will.
Oh, I know that. You know what's a real test of my intestinal fortitude, Ron?
I'm afraid to ask, but go ahead.
The TV shows I watch.
Oh, so are you telling me you're going to say what you're watching?
No, I want to ask you first what you're watching, because I think what you're watching will more than cover what I'm watching.
Well, on Apple TV, watched the first 2 episodes of the new Vince Gilligan series, Pluribus. Sci-fi based. Did you happen to catch the 2 episodes?
Watched them both. Watched them both yesterday. One of us in this house was absolutely engrossed by the concept. One of us sat there and said, "This is stupid," got up and walked away. But what were your thoughts?
I think it's a really interesting premise.
Sure. So the premise, describe the premise.
So the premise is that no
spoilers. Janelle
no
hasn't
spoilers.
watched it. No spoilers here.
But I mean, this is the basic premise that, it's basically an alien virus that turns everybody on the planet into this hive mind where everybody's happy, everybody's interconnected, everybody shares all their knowledge, with the exception of 12 people on the planet, one of whom is the woman who was Kim on Better Call Saul. I forget the actress's name.
Rhea something. It was Rhea. I
Rhea,
forgot her name.
Rhea. Hold on.
Yeah. But what I love is there's a familiarity with her. Vince Gilligan has worked with her. He said he was such a fan of working with her on Breaking Bad that afterwards he said, "I want to do a project with you that's going where you're going to be the." She wasn't in Breaking Bad. She was in Better Call Saul. I don't want the corrections to hit me. But he was like, "You're such a strong presence on screen. My next project." So first off, I think Vince Gilligan, he shoots beautifully. His TV shows feel like Kubrick-esque, where there are visual scenes, the angles he uses for absolutely no other reason than just to show the beauty of the world around you. Not necessarily, the angle, a car driving from point A to point B, he'll use 8 different, points of reference to show this car, but just add such a cinematic view to the show. The concept of all of humanity being entered into this one, like you said, mind hive, where there is a global consciousness where every individual has within their brain all of human knowledge for all of history. So the person you're sitting next to knows exactly how surgeries take place and who's working where and how something took place. And that when you sit there and talk to somebody, they know literally everything. And you're not it. The concept I've seen several times of, the last man standing, last person on earth kind of thing. This is not it. There are, you're surrounded by people. The difference is the fact that you're not part of their hive. I have very high hopes for this show.
Yeah, and again, it's the one thing that aggravates me about like Apple TV and HBO Max, that you have to wait for episodes. Like this is a show that I would binge without a doubt, and I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out. A lot of we've had a lot of conversations in the house as to like what's the underlying theme of the show. What's your take on it so far?
Guy Bannister says your complaints about having to wait a week for your new show is really, it's first world white people problems.
That's fair.
There are federal workers who are not getting paid. There are people who are not getting their SNAP benefits, Ron. And your complaint this week is that you have to wait another 6 days to watch the next episode of Pluribus.
Listen, that's fair. That's fair.
I thought I found it. Just the concept of Vince Gilligan. He did Breaking Bad. He did Better Call Saul. I love the way those shows are done. And it looks like this one, very different concept, but I'm so, I love the way it's shot, it's filmed. The story is told. I'm very much excited by it.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about next week's episode.
Sure.
When it comes out
next week.
Also watched In Waves and War, a documentary on Netflix. This is about 3 former Navy SEALs with post-combat trauma going through an experimental psychedelic treatment in Mexico to get rid of their PTSD. Heart-wrenching to hear their stories. So I would recommend it, but it is a bit of a tear jerker. I don't know why I said tear joker. And then I also, just before the show, watched the first episode of It, Welcome to Derry, on HBO Max. It is a prequel to the first It movie.
I never saw it. Even the
Really?
original. I don't know the story whatsoever.
Interesting. I still love you, but I think less of you now.
It's
Um,
okay.
I will say this: absolutely terrifying. The first episode, like
Really?
they do not screw around with getting right into the horror and the blood.
Mhm.
So I that'll be another one that I look forward to watching.
Interesting. Okay.
What else are you watching, Brian?
Really nothing. I'm just powering through the last season of Vikings. Seasons 4, 5, and 6 have 20 episodes each. It is a slog. At this point, I don't even care about the characters that are remaining on the show. I think there's a total of like 71 episodes. We are on season 6, the last season. Knocked out a couple more episodes this weekend. Just want to see it done. Just want to see it done.
All right. Do you want to
Just
try
like
and get?
how I feel about your title reign. Just want to get it over with.
Let's get through a couple more stories before we wrap up here. A sad
Sure.
story. A mom of 4 from Indiana gunned down after arriving at the wrong address for her cleaning job, and her grieving husband, who watched her die, is demanding justice. Maria Florinda Rios Perez was shot dead just before 7 a.m. Wednesday as she and her husband, Mauricio Velasquez, arrived at a Whitestown home they had been hired to clean. The couple, who are self-employed cleaners, checked the address twice and circled the neighborhood to make sure they were in the right place. As they tried to get the keys they've been provided into the door of the home, a single shot ran out and the mother dropped bleeding to the ground.
Terrible fucking story. This is
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
A
This
911
one.
call went out at the same time, reporting a home invasion. When police arrived, they found the mother and her distraught husband on the porch. After attempting to save her, she was declared dead at the scene.
Just so sad.
Yeah, and so there's questions as to whether this would fall under the castle doctrine or anything like that. But I mean, again, isn't the number one rule of when you are a gun owner and you're firing a gun, you should 100% know what it is you're firing at before you shoot it?
Not in America.
No.
Not in America. You shoot first and stand my ground. What state did this happen in?
This is Indiana.
Jesus, Indiana. Not a state you would think that would happen in. Also, Indiana defeating Penn State. Big college football game this past week. Penn State unranked, which is just unbelievable.
Did you see the end of the game, though, Brian?
Of course. I saw
unbelievable,
the end of the game.
unbelievable catch, 1
Yeah.
foot catch at the back of the end zone for
Sure.
Indiana to win at the end of the game. That was
I was rooting for Penn State.
That was a bullet through a front door for Penn State fans.
Oh.
Let's run through celebrity obituaries quickly here. We don't have a ton of time. Sad one. Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Nealand dying by suicide at the age of 24. He apparently had been texting his girlfriend and his family that he was going to end his life. Police tried to find him. They did end up chasing him and trying to stop him. He got away, and they found him later on with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Dwayne Roberts, inventor of the frozen burrito, dead at age 88. I mean, that's a level of celebrity, I would think.
Sure.
Just today, former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue dying at age 84.
Shame.
Did anything really happen during when he was head of the NFL? Like, you see a lot has happened with Roger Goodell, the international expansion, the TV deals. I kind of remember like Tagliabue's reign being like kind of just quiet, which I guess in a way is
sometimes
okay.
You want, I was going to say, sometimes you want that, the commission, not everybody has to be, dramatic times. Sometimes it's good to just kind of be on autopilot.
Yeah. Diane Ladd, Oscar-nominated actress and mother to Laura Dern, passing away at the age of 89. But the one happening on Election Day, the biggest one, former Vice President Dick Cheney, dead at the age of 84. I believe he was on his 8th heart at this point.
Quite
I remember
possible.
he had...
A lot of people argued he didn't have a heart, Ron.
True. So now one can imagine he is in the great beyond, shooting his friends in the face with buckshot yet again.
Buckshot. Sorry.
Brian, before we go, I think it is our mission to remind people that if you love the free hour plus of our weekly podcast, you want to become a Patreon subscriber. If you go to cultofronandbrian.com, click in the upper right-hand corner, and you can join. Listen, you can do a free subscription, but we encourage you to subscribe because we put this money back into the podcast. We pay for graphics like this. We pay for title belts. Look, I've got 2 of them here. And if you subscribe at the $10 a month level or higher, you get to join us every week for our After Dark, which starts at 9:30. Once a month, we have our monthly pajama party where our Patreon subscribers can come on, be on the show with us, and we compete in a trivia contest. Last Sunday, we had Can You Beat Ron? Brian putting together a very weak quiz, which allowed me to win. What did I get? 7 or 8 right out of 10?
I think you got 8. I think you got 8 out of 10. I thought I had a genius idea, a great concept. Lo and behold, I was wrong.
You tried, and that's all you can do sometimes.
I did try, but it was embarrassingly easy for you, and I felt like I let down our friends on the show.
So we are just a few weeks away from the next contest, which will be Can You Beat Brian? And I'm going to make this one tougher than Brian makes it. So it'll be tough to see if he can hold up.
All right, let's see if we can do it.
All right, Brian, anything else before we wrap up this episode 370?
Listen, this has been a great hour. It's been a great show. I am proud to be able to say that I have spent this past hour with you. All I can say is that if you are listening to the show right now, if you have not joined our Patreon, you are missing out. This type of stories that we put aside just for After Dark, which is the 30-minute plus of content that we do. And there's always other things that we do on Patreon. I know there is a free level of membership that does get you certain types of content that, doesn't come to the mass public, but you're missing out if you don't join the paid levels for as little as $5 a month. You get some incredible benefits. Also, you help offset some of the costs that we incur to put the show together.
Listen, costs are going up around the country. I think you see it every single day. No different in the podcast world. So any support you can provide to us is greatly appreciated.
And we do. Go. Sorry.
No, go. You go. You were going to say.
No, but I was just going to say one last thing, which is the money we get from Patreon. We don't pocket it. It goes back into the show. It goes towards other services, other areas. We have yet to pocket a penny, and that's the thing. It just goes back into the show.
There you go. Well, thank you all for joining us, Brian. As always, it has been fantastic spending the last hour plus with you. I look forward to our After Dark coming up in just a scant 20 plus minutes. Everybody else, we appreciate you joining us. Patreon folks, we will see you shortly. Everybody else, we will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for the latest episode of The Cult of Ron and Brian. A non-tax deductible contribution can be made by subscribing to our Patreon. Visit cultofronandbrian.com and click on Become a Patron. We'll see you again next week.